In this video, we're going to show you to install the forward-mounted parking brake cable on your Buick Enclave located underneath the driver's side of the vehicle. Now, underneath the driver's side of the vehicle, we have the forward-mounted cable coming back here into this component. Now, this here holds two barrel ends. So this is the rear cable here coming up, and the front one, we have to disconnect this. Now, there is a rod here that is adjustable for tension. There's a 10 millimeter here. So we're going to use our socket on that, and then we're going to hold the threaded rod with a pair of locking pliers. So simple, we're going to grab a hold of that. Now, we did spray this down with some rust penetrant. Before you go any further, we want to go ahead and mark this. So I'm going to use a black Sharpie marker, and I'm going to mark the threads right around the back side here, so we know that we are pretty much at the setting that we need to be when we go to tighten this down. So you're going to be coloring the threads right there. If you wanted to, you could take a piece of tape, wrap it right there as well. Whatever you choose, you just want to make sure that you mark that. First, we're going to use our wrench here to get this down enough, and then we'll switch over to our ratchet. It's always ideal for you to be wearing safety glasses when doing this job. You don't want any debris from the chassis of the vehicle getting in your eyes. Now, I put a pair of locking pliers here on this connector. We're going to spin this over so you can see. Now we have the two barrel ends here. Now right on the bottom side here, there's little lock tabs here to keep the barrel ends in place. I'm just going to use a little pocket screwdriver and gently pry that down. We can remove our pliers here. Now, if you follow the cable end back here with your pocket screwdriver, there's two little retaining tabs. You're going to bend those in, and you're going to pull the cable housing towards the front of the vehicle. Pull that through. On the bottom side of the driver's side dash here, we have this cover we need to remove, these three plastic push pins. We're simply going to use our trim tool. Pry out the center and pop out the button. We're going to do this for the center one and then the one further towards the door. Pull that panel down, pull it towards the seat, and set that aside. We want to go ahead and remove our floor mat. There's a little lock tab right here. We need to rotate this. We're going to roll up our mat and remove that from the vehicle. Now, with the floor mat removed, we want to go ahead and remove our dead pedal here. There's going to be two 10 millimeter nuts. There's one right here, and there's one on the side over here going in at an angle. Now, the bottom one here has a tendency to get wet and get debris on it. So we want to go ahead and spray this down with some rust penetrant. Let that soak for a little bit. We've already done this for a little while, and we're going to go ahead and try and loosen this. And we're using our 1/4 inch ratchet. Now I'm going to work this back and forth. I don't want to jam this up and break that stud off, so I'm going to work that gently. If you're not in the salt belt area like we are, this is probably going to come right out for you. Okay, we'll remove this from the vehicle. Now let's move to the inside one here. And this nut is coming off nice and easy. There it is. Pull off the dead pedal, set that aside. We want to remove our sill panel here. Now I'm going to use a trim tool and get up underneath, and we're just going to gently pry upward. They're just plastic retainer trim buttons. Now once you get going here, Just work your way around. And we're going to gently tug this outward and remove that from the vehicle. So this particular vehicle has the plastic tabs, but it has little lock clips on here, the little metal ones. So we'll just set that aside. With the sill plate removed, we can now peel back our carpet. It doesn't matter how you do this, you just want to get behind here and start to peel this back. So lift up our carpet, and you can see the cable coming down right here. It goes through the floor with a rubber grommet. Now I'm going to use my trim tool here, and what we basically have to do is we have to push this rubber grommet through the floor. But once you get it started, the rest of the grommet should follow suit. And push that cable through. There it is. Now we're going to move up to the top side by the actual pedal itself and disconnect the cable up top. So we have our cable coming up right here into this bracket, and here is the barrel end that we need to disconnect. Now we need to separate this cable from the bracket. There's two little spring tabs. You can try using a pocket screwdriver to move one of these tabs, but it can prove to be a little bit difficult. I'm going to work on the back side clip first. I'm using a pick. Try and undo that tab. So as I'm pulling on that tab, I'm pulling on the cable housing itself. All right, we're able to get the back clip. You can see that the housing is down in the back. We're going to come around the front side, push in on that one. There it is. We release that. Now let's push up on that cable and remove that barrel end. Pull this out, lift up our carpet again, and let's feed this through. Now you see here we pulled our cable through the bottom side. You can see the rubber grommet here. Now you can either cut the grommet off here, which is what we're going to do, or you could always get back up underneath the vehicle and push the grommet back through the floor. Simple enough. The new cable comes with a grommet. Split it, and we'll pull this right through the interior of the vehicle. There it is. Let's lift up our carpet again. Take our cable, and we're going to start to feed this through. Now right here, it's going to come to the stopper at the grommet. We're going to bring the rest of our cable around and get this lined up to install back onto the back of the pedal. So bring our cable down. Feed that up into this. Go ahead and push that barrel end in. Now with the barrel end sitting in here, I'm going to go to the other end of the cable. And you can see that pulled down into the notch. So we're going to feed our cable end up into the bracket here. Snap that up into place. You're going to hear it lock in. I'm going to grab that cable end one more time. Pull that down, make sure that it's engaged. And you can see that it's pulled down and our cable is locked in. So we have our bracket right here. You need to just push this cable a little bit over to get that line up with that dead pedal stud. Push that down. And there's a groove right here in the foam insulation for the cable to run through. So we know that it's in its perfect location. The rubber grommet itself will almost seat itself. So we're just going to make sure that rubber grommet for the cable going through the floor is seated. Then we can lower our carpet down into position. Tuck that up. And let's reassemble the inside of the interior. Install the dead pedal. Make sure that's pushed back. We want to get both of the nuts started. And then we'll go ahead and zip those down. I'm going to push that dead pedal in with my palm of my left hand while I snug this down. I want to make sure this is all the way back. And when tightening these here, you just want, once it bottoms out, just snug it gently. I'm going to do the same for this one. And once this is snug down, we'll go ahead and install our sill plate. There we go. When installing your sill plate here, you want to make sure that the metal tabs are on the plastic itself, and this was going to push inward. So I want to go ahead and install the upper portion, feed that up under the dash trim, and then work this down. You're going to line up the lower tabs as well. Just give this a bump. Snap that down into place. Your sill plate is now installed. Install your floor mat. Twist that to lock it in. On our lower dash panel here, there's a portion right here that is just above the gas pedal. Now this interlocks in to one of the panels underneath. We're going to push that inward and lock it in, and then install our plastic push pins. Now we have our panel up in place. The trick to these buttons, you have to make sure that the button is pulled all the way out until it stops. Push in the base and then push in the center, locking them in. And you're all set on the interior. Now, as we're handling this cable here, you want to make sure that you're keeping this portion taut, because this activates the barrel end up at the other end. Go ahead and feed the cable through the body here. Now I'll feed the cable through the bracket on the chassis and feed the barrel end in. Here we go. So now we have our barrel end secured in the connector here. We're going to come back and we're going to run our nut down on the threaded rod to where our marker point is. I'm going to put my locking pliers on the end. It's going to get to a point where the deep socket isn't deep enough. So we're just going to transition over to our wrench. And we'll continue to tighten this. Now we're just about there. I'm gonna go just a tad bit more. And we're spot on. Slide this off. Remove our tool, make sure this is all secure. Now that we have this where we had set our preliminary setting, you want to hop into the vehicle, activate that parking brake. And if you find that you need to adjust it a little bit, you can either tighten it or loosen a few threads at this point. Once you're all set, you're ready for road test.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.